So
what else are you gonna do?
Do what you got to do.
What do we got next on the docket?
We're reviewing Terribly Happy, which is a film that I got a chance to see when it was in theaters. I might have even reviewed it.
I think you have. You've
here
discussed
before. But you got a chance to watch it on Netflix Watch Instantly. It's also currently on Netflix Watch Instantly.
Yeah.
So check it out.
That's on Netflix Watch Instantly, and The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which is a movie I'll probably see for next week or next time.
I wasn't too big a fan of that, but I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Great, I'm really excited to watch it.
I'm sure you are. Well, it is 2.5 hours.
Oh, Jesus. Never mind, I probably won't ever watch it. It's too long.
But Terribly Happy is directed by Henrik Ruben Gentz, and it's a Danish film about this cop named Robert Hansen who kind of gets sent to a new town for some terrible thing that he did, which isn't, I won't reveal it because it's kind of a little minor spoiler alert, I guess. He comes to this town. It's a very strange, surreal place. They have this bog where in the opening seconds of the film they talk about how they just put things there they don't like anymore. There's like a cow that gives birth to like a cow and a person's head.
It was kind of like the Never-Ending Pit and the Lovely Bones.
Right.
Except it fits a lot better in Terribly Happy. It's not quite such a weird thing.
There's a lot of very weird people among town. They tell him the word moin means both hello and goodbye, so constantly say moin. There's a little girl who kind of always leaves the house every time her mom's getting beaten, and the mom goes to see this cop and she tells him, you know, my husband's beating me. Other people are telling him she's saying that just to get attention. He intervenes throughout the film, and some, I would say, Coen Brothers-esque things happen where it's like the plan is so simple as to what to do, and it just spirals out of control as the film progresses. What did you think about Terribly Happy?
I loved it. I really did, and I was surprised watching it because it reminded me of so many directors I love.
Right.
But it never felt like it was riffing on one particular...
They were ripping off of...
No, it never felt like they were ripping anything off. It felt very inspired. It felt inspired by the Coen Brothers, David Lynch, and I loved spending time in this weird little town. Like, honestly, I wish it would have been a TV series. Like, I feel like they could have gotten so many storylines out of this cop. It's similar to the plot of Justified in a lot of ways.
A little bit, except just a lot stranger.
Yeah, much stranger. It reminded me of Northern Exposure, at times Twin Peaksy.
I've ever seen Northern Exposure.
You've never seen Northern Exposure? So. It's a great show.
Never seen it.
Great show. It's on DVD. I loved my time in this little village, and it's a slow burn. It takes its time to get going, but when it does, it gets going and it gets nuts. This movie has a similar drinking sequence to the one in Hot Fuzz where they're getting drunk, and it's one of my favorite drinking scenes I think I've seen in a movie in quite some time. It's awesome.
I think one of the things I think that makes it so well, like you said, that it's a slow burn that really starts to get going towards the end. But I think one of the things that's so cool about it, and I think I noticed it almost more the second time watching it, because the ending, I think, threw me for a loop the first time I saw it. I was kind of like, I was taken aback by what was going on, and I think what's great about it is that there's so many things that go unsaid at the end of this film that I think imply so much more, like, however weird and crazy you already perceive that town to be within that film, by the end of it, there's like a scene that takes place in a card game, and a scene that takes place right after it, and where they're telling the main character things, but they're not really saying everything. And I think
you get the idea that there is so much going on behind the scenes
so much more
that you don't know
to it that you're not familiar with. And I would say that if you are listening to this and haven't heard of it, because it is a small, I mean, it's a foreign movie that was released in very few theaters by me. If you do like the Coen Brothers, if you do like David Lynch, I think those comparisons are very justified and not in any way like a rip-off or a deliberate rip-off of it. I believe you actually even said in the opening sequence of it, you were like, this is very Coen Brothers-esque, the way they're narrating it.
If Tommy Lee Jones had like read that and tried to be like, this is a Coen Brothers movie.
This is No Country for Old Men too?
And the story is, it's suspenseful. There's a lot of really interesting twists and turns the movie was going that I didn't expect. And anytime a movie goes anywhere I don't expect, I'm always surprised, because I feel like I watch so many movies where it's like I know exactly what's going to happen at the beginning. And the journey this main character takes in the movie, where he's the outsider. And when he comes in there, he's like, I'm doing things by the book. I'm going to do things my way. And this town just does not let him do that. And this town completely changes him.
I mean, one of the things that they have is the they say he starts to kind of write up a ticket for this kid that was going to steal. They're like, no, we don't do that here. You just hit them in the face and send them on their way. And he's like, what? Like, what kind of police work is this? And it's funny that you mentioned Hot Fuzz, because in a little ways, it's like a much less comedic version of that movie, where I think there's so much more going on behind the scenes that the town folk aren't telling them. I also think what's really good about it is the main character. You kind of, in a weird, I sometimes when I saw it, I thought of Blood Simple a little bit, in the sense that it's like this one character who you care about enough to know, like, there may be some things that he's done in the past, but you want him to kind of get away with things that are going on. I've already probably said too much, but it's kind of a difficult movie to talk about because I don't want to spoil too much about it.
There's a lot that goes on.
But I like that you care so much about where his character is going throughout the film, because I think he goes into some pretty dark, crazy places. And
even though there's some shit in his past that's a little checkered, you can still completely identify with him. You can understand why the events that take place in this movie, it's like, well, that could have been me. That so easily could have been me. And I just found the whole movie fascinating.
And on a total side note, I think the film is being remade for American audiences by the same director, shot for shot? I don't know if it's shot for shot, but same director for American audiences. However, I don't know how they're going to pull that off, because I think one of the things that's so cool about it and that works because it is foreign is that they can go to these like middle of nowhere places like in Europe or wherever they're at that people don't know about, and it's like, oh yeah, well that's a weird little small town. It's like
it has a little bit more of a surreal quality when it's Europe.
They're not going to be like, oh, he's a New York cop, but he moved to Montana. It's like, it doesn't make sense.
I agree with you, but I was surprised. It felt very influenced by American movies. Like all of those shots of the fields, I was like, that's like the Coen brothers, it's like Terrence Malick, it's this. One of the characters is wearing a cowboy hat, which is like one of the most American things you could possibly wear. So I'm definitely interested to see the remake. I want to see it with the same cast.
Speaking English?
Yes. It'd be the worst idea. It would be like Sukiyaki Western Django.
Which I was not a fan of.
You just can't understand anything anyone's saying. But one of the guys in the movie was from the Pusher trilogy. The performances were really great.
Very good.
It's a real surreal film, and it could have been, you know, like this is quirky small town, but it never fell into that
at all. Yeah, definitely dug it a lot. I would highly recommend people check it out on Watch Instantly on Netflix for show.
What up, bitches? What do we have next on the docket, buddy?
We got The Kids Are All Right, which is a small little independent film that's getting a lot of buzz, directed by Lisa Cholodenko. I believe she did a movie called Laurel Canyon. Have you ever seen that movie? It's with Christian Bale, I believe, and I want to say Frances McDormand. I could be totally wrong. I don't know, but that's who I'm going to go with currently until I pull it up, which I'm about to. So take your time on this podcast, because
The Kids Are All Right.
Frances McDormand, Christian Bale, Kate Beckinsale.
Let's lay out this
Laurel Canyon. Let's do it.
We've got Annette Bening and Julianne Moore. They're the power gay couple I think every lesbian couple wants to be.
Right.
They both have 2 children. They got sperm donors. Each of them both had 1 child. One of their daughters. Same sperm. 1 dude.
Scissor sisters.
2 samples. Thank you for that. Just completely throw me off. And they have like an awesome house. They live in California. Their daughter, played by Mia Wasikowska, is going to be going off to college. She's got a younger brother. And they kind of, you know, as sperm donor children sometimes do, feel a little unfulfilled. They love their mothers. They have a pretty good relationship with them. They all sit down for dinner. And get this, you guys. The kids track down their sperm donor. Who's the sperm donor?
Leland Brungart.
Mr. Mark Ruffalo.
I mean Mark Ruffalo.
He and his hairy chest are the sperm donor. They reconnect with him without the mother's knowledge.
Right.
Kind of a chain reaction happens, and they end up trying to kind of connect with the sperm donor. You know, power play between a lesbian couple and the mother. I wasn't really looking forward to this movie.
Okay.
I saw the trailers and I was like,
I dragged him to it the first day.
He didn't drag me to it. I did want to see it, but I saw the trailers for this, and I kind of got it's complicated vibe, or you know, one of these movies where there's middle-aged women drinking wine, or like, ooh, let's dance. We're middle-aged and we're hot still. I was worried that was what this movie was going to be. There's a lot more to it, though, I felt, and I was kind of surprised by the direction this movie took. What did you think?